Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing the battery performance on the brand new HTC 10. Now those of you who follow me, you must have seen several videos on the phone on the channel already. If you haven't guys, please do check them out. However, like I said, in this video we'll be specifically talking about the battery performance on the HTC 10. So before we start guys, let's have a quick look and see which version of Android this phone is running. So let's go into settings and then about phone, and from here we should go into the software information bit. There we go, and as you can see it's running Marshmallow 6.0.1, which is the latest Android iteration so far available. Also it's running HTC Sense version 6, which is the latest version from HTC. Okay, so you know my style guys, I'll be showing you plenty of screen on times with 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, standby drains, charging time, and also the gaming performance on the battery as well. So let's get into gallery first of all, and let's see what I've been collecting for the past couple of weeks as far as screen on times and the data is concerned. Okay, so first of all guys, there you go, I charged the phone fully to 100%, and this was my very first run on the phone, and this was primarily on Wi-Fi. As you can see, it was a very busy day, heavy day, and I really wanted to see how this phone would last me all day. HTC were saying that they were obsessed and they wanted us to give some outstanding, extraordinary battery life. We will find out that in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, normal regular day guys, I used the camera a lot to record a few videos, which I did upload on my channel. Also plenty of YouTubing, watching videos. As you know, I'm a YouTuber guys, so I do watch a lot of video, SoundCloud and typical stuff. And then after that full day, I was able to squeeze out 5 hours and 15 minutes of screen on time, and this was primarily on Wi-Fi. If you go back in the graph, you'll see mostly I was on 90% of the day I was pretty much on Wi-Fi. Did use the camera, did use the flash and everything else. GPS was used as well to do a few check-ins on Facebook, and also I did use sat nav with my Google Maps as well. So as you can see here, pretty much all day, and around 5:30 I had to charge the phone again, and it had went down. But this is me using the phone non-stop constantly. If you were to use this phone moderately, heavy and moderate, obviously this phone can last you one day on Wi-Fi very easily, as the screen on time shows 5 hours and 15 minutes. Anything above 5 hours is very good for a Quad HD screen phone. By the way, the phone has got a 3000 mAh battery, and it's got a 5.2 inch screen, which is Quad HD 2516 to 1440, so a very pixel dense screen, and screen is always the biggest drain when it comes to battery life. Okay, again I tested the phone on 4G LTE this time around guys, even though the line shows you full Wi-Fi, but I can assure you I was using 4G LTE, and the results were actually pretty different and amazing. As you can see, lots of social media, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud as well via Bluetooth, which I listen to a lot of music from. Also camera was being used and other bits and bobs, and I was able to squeeze out 5 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time. If you remember correctly guys, from my first 48-hour impressions battery life video, which I uploaded 2 weeks ago, I mentioned this to you guys, that I was a bit surprised with 4G LTE performance on this, giving us almost the same amount of screen on time as we did with Wi-Fi. So I wanted to test this again, and I will show in the video later on what I achieved after using 4G LTE all day. Anyways, carrying further on guys, as you can see, Wi-Fi here, again a heavy day, lots of media surfing, social media apps and stuff, YouTubing and all that. YouTube, as you can see, was always there in my usage, because I use YouTube a lot on my phone guys, so please don't think that I'm just keeping an eye on the screen trying to get as much SOT as I can. I'm a very heavy user, use WhatsApp, SoundCloud, typing non-stop, YouTubing, Google Plus, Instagram. I do all this kind of stuff, so my phones are very busy, obviously being a YouTuber. And I was able to achieve again 5 hours and 8 minutes of screen on time. Here mostly I was using Wi-Fi, and occasionally I did use 4G LTE as well, which for some reason doesn't show on the graph at times. Okay, so going further down again guys, I think here I was actually charging the phone. Yeah, okay, at 14:14 at around 4%, I put the phone on full charge guys, at around 4%. It says here at the bottom, charging rapidly. So I was using HTC's own charger, which was the Qualcomm Charge 3.0, most of the times in here as well, because I wanted to see how the factory boxed charger will work with the phone. Okay, as you can see, so at 14:14 and then 14:58 the battery was up to 64%, and this is like just over half an hour, and we have more than 50% battery in the phone. And this is pretty much what HTC claimed after they released the phone, in which they claimed that the battery can go up to 50% in just half an hour. So it actually exceeds that expectation, and is charging really quick. But the other half of 50% takes a little longer than the first half. Okay, so as you can see here, it would have taken 27 minutes more until full, so keeping an eye on this time and that time, just over an hour, and the battery would have reached 100%. I have taken a few shots later in the video, which I will show you, and we'll have a look and see. Okay, there's also an HTC camera update in the Play Store, guys. So as you know, those of you especially who follow me, the HTC's camera is suffering from aggressive focus hunting. So please update your app should you wish, and this might make a bit of a difference. Even though I'm still waiting for an OTA update because things haven't completely changed so far for the camera. Okay, once again here, guys, very heavy day, as you can see in the graph, a Wi-Fi 4G LTE mix up, and pretty much using the phone all day long with GPS, sat nav at times as well, and camera, a few photos here and there. And after using a full day on social media, Google Plus, YouTube and all that, I was able to achieve 4 hours and 14 minutes of screen on time. Now this one is slightly less than what I showed you in the earlier screenshots. The reason for that is because firstly I was mixing it up. I was using 4G LTE, I was using GPS a lot as well, and plus I work in an area, guys, where the mobile signals are hardly present at time when I'm in the building working. So at times I forget to switch my phone to airplane mode, and that's why the battery loss was at least at times very sudden, and that's probably the reason why I've got slightly less SOT as compared to what it was before. So sometime I was completely forgetting, so I do apologize about that, guys. But be rest assured that on Wi-Fi you can get around close to 5 hours of screen on time, and with a bit of mixed use, probably you're looking at 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time. Okay, fully charged here at 100%, guys, and this is where I wanted to test the actual battery drain and see how well the dose would work, which is obviously part of Marshmallow. As you can see, guys, I took the phone off at 23:42 when it was fully charged to 100%, and then when I got up in the morning around 5:30, the battery had gone down to 98%, so it had lost 2% in about, I would say, 5 to 5.5 hours, which is decent, reasonable, but I've seen better from other phones. But in general, when I've left the phone around, say, 50%, 40%, sometimes I was getting like 6 hours, 7 hours, and not even 1% dropping down. So the overall performance of battery drain is very good, and it's a hell lot better than when we had on the older HTC phones, including the One M9 and also the One M8. Okay, here again, guys, like I said, very busy day. I kept on using the phone further down to 51%. I took a screenshot and I was able to squeeze out 2 hours and 23 minutes of screen on time, and this was primarily on Wi-Fi, guys, not on 4G LTE. I kept on using the phone further down, which I will show you in just a moment. There we go. Okay, and down to 32%. Again, heavy day, GPS on as well, sat nav used a few times, and so did the camera with a few camera shots, as you can see here. And I was able to squeeze out in the end when battery was down to 32%, 2 hours and 27 minutes of screen on time. And going further down, when the battery was down to 6%, and here you can see I had the phone on airplane mode, guys, and this was when I was at work. Like I said, I don't get no signals where I work, so at times I forget to turn the airplane mode on, but most of the times I'm okay, so I turned the airplane mode on, and in the end I was able to squeeze 4 hours and 50 minutes of screen on time. So wherever I've turned the airplane mode on, I didn't forget. The phone was using just the Wi-Fi, and I wasn't doing any signal hunting, thus putting strain on the battery life. So as you can see, airplane mode on, mostly on Wi-Fi, and 4 hours and 50 minutes of screen on time, which is not bad. Again, down to 6%, and this was the kind of usage I had, guys, same as I showed you for this. So this was the graph. As you can see, for a few hours I was obviously sleeping, and then eventually I started using the phone pretty much all day. Okay, and once again, 4 hours and 17 minutes, guys. Decent screen on time again, but like I said, often I used to forget about airplane mode, and that's why the battery would suffer at times, and that's why you will see less screen on time. Again here, down to 4%, same as I think from before, and here I'm showing you the graph, and I got again 4 hours and 10 minutes of screen on time, which with this kind of usage. Again, guys, you can see the battery timing is slightly lower than expected because of, like I said, I work in a place where there's no signal, so I'm not going to repeat myself again and again, otherwise you guys are going to get annoyed. So every time you see 4 hours plus screen on time, you probably see how I forgot to switch the phone onto airplane mode on. But in general, we're looking at around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time with Wi-Fi on. Here again, 4G LTE, as you can see, guys, I tested on 4G LTE and a bit of Wi-Fi as well, and I was able to squeeze out 4 hours and 47 minutes of screen on time, which is again goes to show that I've used more Wi-Fi and less 4G LTE. So every time you see me getting close to 5 hours, that probably means I've used more Wi-Fi and less 4G LTE, as the graph here shows as well. Okay, once more, guys, I think this was again, same thing. Okay, let's do the next one. Wi-Fi down to 3%. As you can see, those worked really well here. You can see a straight line, not dipping at all, which goes to show the battery had a very good standby time. And I was able to squeeze out, after using it for GPS, Wi-Fi, 4G LTE, I was able to squeeze out 5 hours and 26 minutes of screen on time. Now if you look at this screen on time as compared to what I've shown you just a couple of screenshots before, The difference is that I'm in an idle state. I'm in an area where there's a signal, at least one bar, but at least the signal is there, and I don't have to worry about switching the airplane mode on or off, and obviously worrying about loss of signal or loss of battery as well. Here the conditions were a bit more stable. That's why I was able to squeeze out a bit more screen on time, which was 5 hours and 26 minutes, and this was mostly primarily on Wi-Fi and not as much on 4G LTE. Again, I think here I was using 4G and Wi-Fi both, and I was able to squeeze out 4 hours and 6 minutes of screen on time. If I remember correctly, I think here I was using 4G more, but obviously in the graph it doesn't show as much for some reason. It's obviously a bug or whatever that is, but I was able to obviously get this on the graph. But I can tell you that every time, like I said, it's close to 4 hours or 4.5 hours. That means I've been using more 4G LTE and less Wi-Fi. And the straight line shows that I was pretty heavily using the phone, and I can, like you can see, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, full-fledged social media, YouTubing, surfing, and browsing and everything else, and video streaming. Okay, so let's go further ahead. Here, I think if I remember correctly, yes, I took the screenshot just before recording this video. As you can see, at 1950 the battery was down to 5%, and I started charging it rapidly. And when I took the next screenshot at 2110, the battery was up to 96%. So we're talking about just over an hour and 20 minutes, and it was able to go from 5% all the way up to 96%, and would have taken it 3 more minutes before you would have got a full charge battery. So you'll be looking at just over an hour and a quarter to fully charge your phone. Because my phone was down to 5%, if you would probably say start at 10% or 15%, most likely chances are that you will be able to charge your phone just over an hour, maybe in under an hour, depending on how quickly you put your phone on charge. Very few people will probably be putting it at 5%. Most people, on average, I know, they normally start charging their phones around 20%, 25%, 15%. So with that time, hopefully you'll be able to charge the phone fully in just around an hour's time. Okay, so this is where I was gaming, guys. Let me just put this on landscape mode so you guys can see clearly, and let me just bring the phone close to the camera. And this was just before I started shooting this video, guys. At around 93% I started gaming Real Racing 3 at 2023-03. And if you look carefully, I did game for nearly half an hour. So 03 and 32, in half an hour's time, from 93% the battery went down to 85%, which is far less as compared to what I had on the Huawei P9. Huawei P9 in the similar half an hour time lost almost 16% of battery life, whereas the HTC had only lost from 93% to 85%, which is very, very good. Only 8% in half an hour, which I think is very, very good indeed. So the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 is much more power efficient as compared to the Kirin 955 in the Huawei P9, especially when it comes to gaming. But in day-to-day battery life, I think the Huawei P9 is slightly better than the HTC 10. So guys, this was my detailed verdict on the HTC 10's battery life. I'm sure you guys will find this very, very helpful. And if you're worried about the battery life on the HTC 10, I can assure you that the battery life on the phone is not too bad, with idle conditions and strong signal from the network. And if you're on Wi-Fi, you're bound to get over 5 hours of screen on time with Wi-Fi. And with 4G LTE, you're looking around maybe 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time. Any questions, guys, please feel free to ask me in the comment section, especially if it's related to battery or anything else. Please do let me know. And like always, guys, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.